And also, just as we're still like, I guess like within spoiler territory, I don't see a sequel anywhere, so there's no secret ending at the end.
Yeah, there's nothing at the end credit.
Blah 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 blah. So we just watched Ready Player One. It just came out in theaters. Actually, has it been the weekend of the release? I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, let me just like look at it real quick just to verify. Ooh, that's actually quite nice to look at.
That's badass.
That's IDBM or some.
IMDb.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
It's right there, March 29, 2018. So yes, it is opening weekend.
Opening weekend. Okay, cool. For someone who's never watched, or sorry, never read the actual book, which actually is 385 pages according to Google, which doesn't seem like a lot actually.
Yeah.
It's
what I don't like is this little ad right here. It gives away who they are. And that was half the fun of the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Was eventually seeing them.
Like the face reveal.
Yeah.
Also, about the main villain, Nolan. What's his name?
Nolan.
Yeah, the main villain. His avatar is pretty much Clark Kent.
Yeah, right.
It's like, wow, that's. I actually like that. Kind of just like an evil Superman.
Yeah,
almost.
I got like Clark Kent, and at the same time, I also got like Akuma in a suit.
Akuma in a suit. Yeah. So, aside from the fact that I never read the book, this was actually a pretty fun movie.
It was.
And considering like the setting, the visual effects are really good. Like they were really good.
Oh, dude, they're on the Gundam.
Oh, the gun. It had
3D modeling on that was so on point.
It was so fluid too. Like
yeah.
to bring just like an anime mech into like the CG film and actually doing well with it.
Mm-hmm. Iron Giant punted a mech.
Iron Giant like MVP coming in here. There's so many things I want to talk about, but there's quite a bit of spoilers. It was actually quite impressive, like how much was actually put into this movie, even though it was 2 hours, and so.
And even though it was like a minute and a half of just fucking the licensing credits.
Yeah, there was actually quite a lot of the end credits. I was debating whether or not I wanted to just capture that for the sake of everyone to see it, but I guess you can see it for yourself. It's quite lengthy. Not as lengthy as the end credits for Mighty Number 9. I don't think anything will ever outbeat that.
Mighty Number 9?
Yeah. You know, the Kickstarter?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, when I was watching the trailers, when we were watching the trailers, I had this idea of like what the movie was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And this was definitely something that kind of broke the expectations I had. I'm not sure what it was exactly. I think it was just how much pacing they were going to do. For example, the trailer showed like obviously the scene where the guy himself was talking about how he was dead. And I was thinking that was going to be part of the plot, like as far as like actually happening, but not like at the very beginning.
He's always like, oh, they're going to show like a whole thing about him dying and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm dead. At the beginning, it's like, oh.
It was part of Wade's just like whole dialogue of just introducing the entire world.
Exposition.
Exposition.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about like, well, first of all, I want to just like give credit to like the set design on just that scene where he was like going down like his entire like neighborhood in the opening credits. Like, dude, like to make that, I'm not sure how they did it, but if they actually made the entire thing and just kept it steady, it was really great. I love the idea of just vertical design on things.
They just had a big ass fucking dolly to take it down with them.
Yeah, it was great. And that's not even talking about like the idea that this is kind of not so far off from us, where everyone's like putting on like some kind of VR headset, jumping into the world. And you see like a whole bunch of different people doing it. We saw one with a pole dancer, and I immediately regretted the idea of this happening.
You didn't want to run into Chuck?
I didn't want to run into Chuck. Should we talk about that?
About Chuck?
Yeah, like the joke maybe.
It's a good joke. I liked it.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Pretty much the joke was our main character hero.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Fucking like Miles Morales or some shit like that.
That's his actual name?
No, that's Spider-Man. That's Black Spider-Man.
Oh, no, right. Oh, right.
What was his name?
Aside from Wade?
That's it. Wade, and then his player name
starts with a P.
Parzival.
Parzival.
The guy who found the Holy Grail. You have Wade / Parzival, and he fell in love with Artemis,
Our female lead.
Our female lead. And his good chum, his only real friend, H, tells him, "Look, dude, you're not in love, all right? I mean, come on, dude. She could be a dude. He could be 300 pounds, living in Detroit, in his mother's basement, named Chuck."
That emphasis on the name's Chuck.
It's like of all the things that H listed, Chuck had to be the worst. So much emphasis on it. 300 pounds, living in Detroit, in his mom's basement, named Chuck. What do you got against Chuck?
Like, seriously though, that was a really cool scene
too.
Did he do something wrong to you? A lot of funny moments here, and a lot of references to the point where I wonder if, well, I guess I could still recommend this movie to people who don't really get much of these like references, because this kind of like really a cultural movie, if anything. Not even talking about like the book.
If you have any inclination towards just video game pop culture in any sense, even if it's just like, oh, I enjoy me some Angry Birds and whatnot, there's still things in there that you'll be like, oh, I've heard of this, or oh, I get that. That person's familiar. Oh, I've seen that character before. And it's like, wow, there's a lot in there.
It's a lot of references, and a lot of them don't really have much of that impact unless it's a game in general.
Yeah, they're just kind of there.
That's kind of related to finding the keys.
Let's see. We have Dungeons and Dragons, Back to the Future, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Pac-Man, Joust. They had Adventure. We had the Iron Giant. That one game that's rather new. Overwatch.
Oh yeah.
War Games, Blade Runner. The Shining.
Yeah.
What else did we
Chucky.
have? We had Chucky.
Yeesh.
Halo.
Street Fighter.
Destiny.
The Batman characters.
Yeah. A lot of DC characters, a lot of references to Marvel characters, a lot of great 80s pop.
Yes. The soundtrack that they decided to use like for this movie was really good. Because what you start to see like later on in the plot, a lot of ways forward for our characters is through the mind of the creator. A lot of the film is just trying for them to figure out like, okay, what would he do for this? Like because a lot of it's based on like the way he thinks and things that happened in his childhood, and he uses them to set up all these like different challenges, which are just 3. Pretty much how you want to approach it is based on like his way of thinking.
Yeah.
So not every single like challenge, and actually not all of them or any of them, had a straightforward answer. It was about thinking outside the box.
It was a lot of lateral thinking. And he had what was it called? It wasn't like a Hall of Records. It was
kind of like it was kind of a record of all the recordings that took place like in the offices.
It was an entire recollection of his life.
Oh, okay.
It was like a Hall of Records type deal, but they didn't call it that. It was something. It was like I can't even fucking think of what it was called. But
it was
all the answers to all the quests the 3 quests were in there. You just had to look.
You had to look
and listen to everything.
And it's a huge building in like the Oasis space too. So we're looking at like an entire catalog of memories from him, but you only have like a few of them that actually like point towards the actual answer to each individual one.
You have like 2 or 3 to just think, oh wow, of the 4 billion fucking videos in here, 2 of them tell you something.
In fact, Wade was talking about how like it took 5 years for something to open up.
Yeah.
It was the portal to the first challenge, which was like the
race.
The race.
Nobody gets past King Kong.
No one gets. That's the whole entire premise of it, and the idea was, okay. So wait, in this discussion, are we gonna go into like spoiler territory, or are we just gonna?
Been going into spoiler territory.
Yeah, I guess so. So the idea
we kind of do that with every movie review that we do.
I guess so.
Because we're gonna talk about this movie.
We're gonna talk about this movie. So at this point, I would just say like, go watch it. It's fun. And if you have any kind of inclination towards any kind of video game or video game culture, then absolutely. And film.
if you want, you can edit it right here, and this could go before everything, like, and we can just give our non-spoiler review and kind of say if you should go watch it. So I give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
Which is considerably high considering I give even good movies like a 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, can you give me an example of one?
A good movie that I would give a 5 would probably be like Iron Man 2.
Ooh, okay.
Iron Man 2 I give a 5. The first Iron Man I would give a low 7.
I'd actually maybe give Avengers like a 6.5 or something like that. Something like, it's a fair rating. But now that I look back on it, it's like, okay, it's kind of whatever.
I'm real harsh when it comes to my ratings of movies just because I enjoy them so much. So it's like, man, a 1 would be a fucking negative for someone just because I have to cover such a wide range of movies in so few numbers.
Yeesh. And I guess I'd give Ready Player One. It would be an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. It was great. It was fun. But yeah, that's our take on it. So we can jump into like the spoiler parts of it. Yeah. So
recut this back to now.
Okay, so about the spoilers here. So first challenge was the race, and the idea was that you go through everything from like dinosaurs to like wrecking balls. Doesn't feature dinosaurs, ironically.
I'm not too sure like if I want to say like the answers to the riddles, just in case people were like, oh well, I want to kind of find out about the movie in depth, but kind of keep some bit of suspense.
Okay, yeah, so, I see what you mean. So
give ideas of like the plot that happens, just not the answers to things.
Yeah, so I mean, like
Artemis, who's H?
Yeah.
Who are the other guys? Do we ever get to see them? What's the deal with airline food and drones?
The cool thing, I like how they
are delivered.
Dude, about that.
How would you rate your explosion?
Give us rate 5 stars, and it's usually by email too, like 5 days after delivery. But yeah, I like the build up for Artemis's character mainly because it's a lot of references to like what's happening now. Like I've seen her walkthroughs, I've seen her like Twitch live streams. Like I get that, but we're at the same time we were like,
Twitch is still around. It's 2045, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, at that point, like YouTube and Twitch are like really old.
Yeah. Also, in the movie, we had a bit of a Star Wars reference in the fact that our main character lived with his aunt and her vast series of
boyfriends.
Yeah, her vast series of boyfriends. And at some point, they get Uncle Owen and Aunt Brood.
Wow. That is...
It's not technically a reference to it.
It's just...
But that was my immediate thought. I was like, oh god, they got Uncle Owen.
Did the characters like signify or represent them accurately, or
no, not at all?
Like, just
they're living family members, not like
what
it was Aunt Amy. Her name was that he lived with. Ready Player One. Aunt Alice, that was her name. Yeah, they got Uncle Owen and Aunt Brood. If you guys don't get that, watch Star Wars: A New Hope.
So I guess not really trying to jump on like the solution, but eventually Wade figures it out, followed by everyone else that he's told.
Mm-hmm. He
tells like a group. He tells one person who.
Yeah, he tells Artemis and he tells H. H then tells fucking their boy Daito, and then Daito tells his boy Sho.
And then that's kind of like your conglomerate like group of characters.
That's high five.
That's high five. So that's our main group that's taking up the leaderboards. The organization that's kind of acting as the antagonist, IOI. They take notice of this and then they start to track down these characters. And I'm not sure if I really want to say. Well, actually, we're gonna just like not avoid. We're just gonna avoid like the answers, but everything else is kind of fair game
for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. So
identities and answers.
Yeah. So the idea is that now they got the first key. Now they're tracking down the second key, and so one of their ideas was, especially on Artemis' side, is to go to this party Yeah,
the first nightclub.
The first nightclub, and the idea was that they would take a leap of faith because that was something that was hinted with
the next clue.
Yeah, the next clue. And so it's during this effect that Wade starts to develop more feelings for Artemis, because it was kind of one of those like first crush like things where he was like, oh man, I think I like her, like her, and we go through the whole thing like it could be a dude, but Wade doesn't even care about that.
Wade doesn't care. He's right there. I don't care. I'm fluid with it. I'm chill. If it has a penis, we'll be real. We'll be really good friends.
If it's got a penis, I'll just imagine not being in there.
Yeah, there's another hole.
It's just another hole, it's just a little bit out there. Yeah, actually, I would take H's side on that. Like, I don't know this person.
Be a dude.
Could be a dude. And Artemis was pretty much saying the same thing. Like, you don't know me. She didn't say I was a guy or anything like that, but it was just like,
you don't know me. You don't know my life.
You don't know where I've been. But yeah, this was
my name, not my story.
But this is the critical moment because as Wade was not like knowing of the fact that he was being tracked down, audio recordings everywhere tells her his name. Gave out his like actual name, and she was like, "Why would you do that? You're not supposed to give your real name." Like, I don't care. I love you,
boy.
I know, like, boy.
All right, now I'm gonna need you to open up your ear holes real quick and listen to me right now.
And that's when everything just like goes loose, where it's like, oh no, he got compromised. And so that's when IOI comes in with like their groups of little soldiers and little soldiers. I think of toy soldiers when I say that.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, that was a dark movie.
Small soldiers, yeah.
Yeah, but one of the things they used to get away from that situation was that Rubik's Cube thing that reverts time for 60 seconds, and they take the opportunity just to flee. And that's when...
How does she not get affected?
Good question. I
thought that as I was watching, I'm like...
I was thinking that too. Like,
how did she not get affected? It turned everybody back
60
seconds, except for him and her.
This plot. But if I had to say unofficially, they're in a party together.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's just say they're in a party. Unless, well, actually, there's still friendly fire. But, yeah, that's when they split off.
Because, yeah, she hit him.
Yeah.
Like, hit him.
And they touched, which is weird. Because she
swam it through his crotch.
He felt that. I was like, oh no. He can't, that poor boy can't help himself.
With the microfiber crotch sensors.
Yeah, like once he got that first win, he had all this money, so he spent it on that Rubik's Cube. He got that suit that was like delivered like real time.
Yeah, dude. He used game money to buy a real thing, which is awesome. Why can't we have that?
Isn't the game money though like pretty much similar to just real currency?
Is it?
Because people are like making a big deal of it. Not to mention like when people die like in that game,
they restart.
Yeah, they restart.
All your shit gone, friend.
And then
zeroed out.
And all the things you lost is collected by nearby people.
Yeah.
And we saw that. So I was thinking
here's my thing. Fucking stay, goddammit. No, it's not like that, because you have to figure we have video games like that now. Microtransactions.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'll buy this from a game with my real money to get the game currency to buy shit.
Yeah.
It's never the case where it's like, I'm using my game currency to buy myself an Android phone right now. Get that fucking Galaxy S9 up in this B, and text message fucking Amazon, tell them send me this X1 haptic suit with microfiber crotch sensors.
Which is a bad idea, people. Don't. At least get it up to the waist. A waist up, and that's it. You don't need to feel anything in the crotch.
Come on, dude. They have what's it called? They have a casino the size of a planet. You can gamble. You can eat at the what's it called? At the restaurant. And you could go in there.
It was low-key like, wow.
Yeah, they had a low hotel. So see, you do need the microfiber crotch sensors. Otherwise, what's the point of the Love Hotel?
Oh, you're right. But then that's something you had to buy. I don't like that idea. Where in order to experience this, you need to buy something else. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, oh, I see it.
Isn't that a lot of things that we already have now?
Yeah, but I don't like to admit it.
Here's your Xbox with your controller and whatnot. Oh, you want to talk to friends? Bam, buy a headset. Oh, you want to actually talk with friends. Oh, you got to buy Xbox Live to get that privilege.
But isn't like standard headsets like coming with the consoles nowadays, or is that really just a separate thing?
They come with consoles to shit.
Yeah, because I never got a headset at all. Never. But maybe it was like it's part of the I got a bundle, so I'm not sure if that's the big thing.
It usually comes in the box.
Yeah, I didn't get one. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, okay. Where else are we? Oh yeah, the second one, which was this was a pretty ambiguous one, and dude, I would not have.
You had to be fucking that guy to get it, because he just...
You would need to have stalked this dude to know everything, and thankfully they have like records of him.
Yeah, thankfully our main character Wade has no fucking life, so all he does is sit in that records hall, wasting the curator's time.
Right? Just trying to look for every single little bit of our boy.
Think about that, dude. The curator's there a lot.
Yeah, but you know, like during the first like couple years or so, like the once like big halls were like pretty much vacant, and it was just Wade. But then after the first win, that's when people started.
That for the longest, it was just teeming with people, and then over time, people just gave up.
Yeah, but I think it was once the first key was won.
Yeah, once the first key was won and the new clue came up, people were fucking all over that place.
Yeah. And Wade became a celebrity, and following suit, like the funny moment where Artemis has to pull him out of like a huge crowd that was like bombarding him with like questions.
Comes freaking barreling through as Goro from fucking Mortal Kombat. Like, you're famous now, you can't be here! Fucking throws him through a glitch in the wall. And then Goro gets his chest bursted by a chest burster.
Followed by like the most unconventional zip tying like reveal.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Chest eater glove. It's not funny. And also the reference, like, the Clark Kent glasses keeps your identity sealed.
Yeah. It disguises you without changing your appearance.
You put glasses on, your hair changes. Here, wear this. I'm not wearing this. It's a good thing that they actually use that still during the movie later on. But yeah, so it was really vague because the idea was for the second one was that you would need to go to a place referencing regret.
Yeah, it was you had to go to a place the creator hated or something like that.
It was a regret, not specifically tied to him, but yeah, it was definitely regret and something about like a creator hating its creation. And we're thinking like, oh, was it something that like he created or something like that? But it's like, oh no, wait. So the idea was that, okay, we jump, we take that leap. That's the idea because like he was seeing this person who would later on to be someone else's wife. I was like, okay, I had this regret of never taking that leap to kiss her or something like that. And they just kind of went off of that. And that's still kind of pretty much what led to them winning the thing, but there was a lot more leading up to it as far as like where it was. I'm still not really sure about how they even set it up because they still went to the curator, and I guess they're able to not only just watch it but relive the scenes that took place. One of the things that they figured out was that it's this place, right? So let's just go, we'll jump in here and then we'll get the key. And I mean, long story short, they do get the key, but the sequences that occurred following before that was pretty great. But yeah, I mean, that's as vague as I'm going to keep it with that. And then following after that, I'm not sure it was no, because we did miss the fact that they found out Wade's identity like soon after like the whole like club incident.
Yeah, they cross-referenced every person named Wade
who purchased
a haptic suit,
and boom, they already found it.
Yeah,
and boom goes auntie and possibly uncle.
Yep, there goes Aunt Alice and Rick.
And that's when Wade was captured But it was actually taken to where Artemis is, and then that's where she reveals her secret identity and stuff like that. And that's when they just get straight to work, and they figure out like, okay, this is where they're gonna have it, and let's go, dude. Following after their win, when you go into like IOI and see all the people like downstairs like trying to test it out, and everyone's like, "Oh God, no, get away!"
They were not having it in that Shining challenge, especially with the zombie lady.
Wade's been relocated, but soon after, they were locating. By the way, they really shouldn't try to go out there like with. They shouldn't send a guy with a recognizable tattoo out on the streets.
They sent someone with very distinguishable features
to go get groceries, and they get caught.
Order it with a drone. No, because the drone would.
They would cross-reference like identities and stuff like that.
Well, they can't. I don't think they would do that. They're looking for like a face on someone because no one else gave their names. So you could order your drone to drop it off at your front door and be like, all right, crap.
I guess, but then there's got to be like a face like matching with like the ID of the person who orders the thing, right?
It could have been literally anybody that wasn't him.
I guess so. But then he's in charge of the groceries. That's his job.
He's not good at doing it. His job. Not very good at all. He could have gone on.
I guess he
ordered there.
I guess he could have put a hood on or a mask or just makeup.
Well, like I said, he could have went on to the Oasis and ordered his food there.
Yeah.
Because clearly they don't.
Clearly you can't order stuff.
Yeah, and they don't really know what you look like on there because Wade bought his thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't automatically know.
It's him.
Percival.
I guess the next thing would be the third challenge, which is pretty much in this isolated castle that IOI has like just found after the situation where
it was in a fortress on Planet Doom, which is the PvP arena.
Yeah. How they were able to like get all those like get that space before anyone else is in there, because I assume like Planet Doom is like always preoccupied with players and stuff like that.
There probably wasn't an event happening there because all those PvP events were for the artifacts.
Oh yeah.
Like what?
Right. Those like super rare items that we saw earlier on. But that was the location of the next one, which was to play a game.
Play your game.
Play
your game and win.
What was the console? I think it was the Atari something.
The Atari 2400, I believe.
Yeah, and it was to play a Pacific game, but no one knew which game it was.
Because it had every game. The Atari 2600. It had every game for the Atari 2600.
What was really cool, like as far as like the organization IOI, was that it was just a whole bunch of nerds who just got together and just like, here's the list of all the games that are on the Atari, and people were like speculating. They had like their own like team of people who were just trying to research what particular places that the key could be at, and that was one of them, the Atari. So everyone just kind of grouped together to figure out like what game would be, and so they end up having a whole line of all their players for this one game. The funny bit was that because it was like on some kind of ice planet, that right underneath them was like water, and then if they were to lose or they won without finding the key, that player would just fall into the ice water. Rinse and repeat throughout. And what was really funny was that the last player that they had, they found the game where the key would be hidden at. This guy was playing. Like, even before Wade and his homie gets to him, you could see in the look in his eye, like, I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
This is my game.
He was in it.
He was like, yes, I won the game.
More than 565 games.
Wow. Over the span of like its entire life cycle?
Yeah.
Which would probably be like,
from 77 to 89. 12 years.
Wow. That's a lot of games.
A lot of games.
But yeah, before that all like went down, there was a whole bunch of plot sequences taking place like outside of the game, from like infiltrating like IOI to pretty much just trying to hack Nolan, which was a pretty funny bit, but also like, whoa, dude, that's a gun. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it got to one point in the movie, and there's guns everywhere. Like, whoa, man.
Whoa,
This is a
man.
game.
This is a game, man, until he pulls out the gun, too, later on. Essentially, once they find out, like, where it's at, how to shut it down, well, actually, I think only Artemis knew how to shut the entire, like, shield down.
Yeah, she looked it up.
She pretty much looked up and did her reconnaissance stuff without the follow-up to anyone else. Wade pretty much summons an entire army of players, which was featured in the trailers. So those like huge mobs of people, like from the Spartans to Tracer to, of course, the Iron Giant, and then just Battletoads to everyone playing.
Christopher Nolan's, who's them called? Ninja Turtles.
Were they in there too?
Yeah.
Wow. I've never watched that movie, and I'm pretty sure I'll be glad to never watch it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, they had everyone. So it was one of those things where I'm thinking of it similar to like in the Avengers scene with Wakanda versus Thanos. Oh yeah, and the Avengers too.
Just on a greater scale. Just think, that's how Infinity War was in the comics.
Oh yeah, just like a whole group of people mixed match from different series.
Just armies of people from both sides of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and they all just like.
And then in the movie, there's like 12 people.
Yeah, I guess it's better off that way anyway. But I guess going back to the movie, it was a huge fight scene where you could not even really get every single detail. Moreover, your eyes are always focused in on like
the Iron Giant punting the mech, or your main character in the car. I forget the name of the car. The DeLorean, and followed by what was it? Mechagodzilla. Yeah, and then Gundam.
Gundam was great. I love it. Once they got the tower down, or not tower, the barrier down, they had everyone not everyone. They just had like our like closed in cast, whoever was left, to go in there and just take on like a horde of people with that. With Wade taking care of it, like with the bomb and everything like that, and then following that with like the face off with him and Nolan, and the way that they ended it with like Nolan like going with the big old bomb that would just erase everyone.
He zeroed out everybody in the game, including himself. Everybody. It's like, wow, dude, what a dick. Even his buddy, fucking.
Oh yeah, his shoot, I forget his name. Even he was like, "Oh shit, you serious? I have 10 years worth put into this thing." Like,
dude, 10 years worth of fucking Gibson loot gone.
My money.
Yeah, he got shot in the arm, he got his arm chopped off and started bleeding money. Justin and I at the same time. My money,
my money hand. I got milk and eggs in there.
My fridge.
But what none of us really expected was the fact that Wade had this coin, which we thought was just like 25 cents. It was actually an extra life provided by the curator.
Because he won a bet.
He won a bet with them. Because he was a nerd.
Nerd, dude.
It's like, there's no way. There should have been more like accounts on Kira. There's actually.
I just think you're wrong, and I'm willing to bet everything I own on it.
Okay, so I think you're objectively wrong, and I think
you're entitled to your opinion, even if it is wrong.
And so yeah, he actually had an extra life, which allowed him to stay in the place, and everyone was panicking. Everyone was watching Wade like through like a live like stream. I'm not sure how they had that set up. I guess it was just pre-programmed.
Pre-programmed for the game to stream the final key being earned.
Mm-hmm. And so, with that in mind, as Wade was going through this process of just trying to play the last final game, we have a car chase scene with our guys in a van versus IOI Nolan and his assistant, who's like trigger happy about this. She was about to shoot down everyone in that van. But that was a cool scene. Cool.
Finale, I think her name was.
Maybe the idea was that she was willing to go to the lengths that Nolan wouldn't otherwise do, but he ended up going through his own lengths anyway. But yeah, following that was like a huge car racing chase scene where, comically enough, because Wade's strapped in to the vehicle, he has to swerve and wave back and forth as like the van gets like slammed on. And it's funny when you actually see like in the game, especially like after he loses, where he's trying to like open up the gate like with all 3 keys. He's like,
yeah, and everybody watching the live stream isn't like entirely sure what's going on with him. They just see him being the worst at putting a fucking key into a door.
But to be fair, I related to that last keyhole on an emotional level. Just putting the keys in the ignition. Sometimes you just miss, but this was a little bit much. At some point, I thought the key would break.
I know. I was like, watch him put the key in, and when he goes to turn it, he gets jolted and snaps the key.
It was at a point where like the creator's avatar would be like, "You gotta take the key or what?
Yeah, want it or not?"
He was like, "Give me a second." But yeah, eventually he goes through it. Goes into like this big, magnificent room.
Yeah, it's shown in the trailers, the Easter egg room,
where it's like sign here, and you have all the rights and stuff like that.
Yeah, then you own the game, and
you can do whatever you want.
It was a good movie. It was such an excellent movie.
Mm-hmm.
It ended on a really good note.
Yeah, it was.
He got some.
He got some. Plus Tuesdays and Thursdays, please. I do like the ending too, because it does feel like one of those everyone goes home happy, where I feel like even though movies have done that before, I feel like there've been a lot of dark like endings and stuff like that maybe just like I was like shrouded everything.
I liked this ending because at the end of the day, the bad guy still wasn't a bad guy. He had the moment to end it, and he realized that this is wrong. It's over a game.
I like that being the theme. I like how the creator of the game is super awkward.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you look under your seats, there's actually nothing. So, well, actually,
his release press conference for the Oasis's prototype is right there. Yeah, and if you guys enough talk about it, let's actually showcase it. So if everyone looks under their seat, there's actually nothing there, but we'll get you guys a headset right now.
And it doesn't even stop there. You'll see a lot more of like his dialogue just like being put in, where he's a socially awkward person, but
yeah,
you get where he's coming from
and it's
too.
The whole reason he created the Oasis, because he doesn't operate very well in the real world.
Yeah.
So he made himself a virtual world, and things went a little bit better for him. And I'm pretty sure we all kind of have that sense, those of us that are like hard into games, where it's hard for us to kind of socialize and whatnot in the real world, but in a video game, when you're somewhat anonymous in a way and you get to be someone else and do something different with your life, you're a bit more active.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk to people, you can say things you wouldn't normally say and act like you wouldn't normally act, and sometimes it's very enriching to just get that sense of confidence, even if it's for a moment in a place that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And the lesson at the end of the movie, the lesson behind it is, it's nice to get away, but know that the world is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Experience it.
I also like the idea of, at the end, the moral idea of what games are, what they mean to us, and what they become like over the years.
It's nothing but a waste of time.
Where it was high stakes. The moment he announced like, "Oh, I'm dead. Here's a whole bunch of money. You can buy the Oasis. You can own it," and it becomes like much more of a competitive sport. Mm. Life or death, really. And at the end, it really showed you like
Uncle Owen and Aunt Baroud.
Seriously, like just these corporations that really want to take the Oasis away.
Second biggest corporation.
Yeah.
Right behind the Oasis.
Mm-hmm. And how at the
$1 trillion, dude. You got $1 trillion.
I mean, who else wouldn't jump on that? But the creator was like so much different about that. I mean, like, the idea about like the designs of each challenge come like straight from like what he really thought about what video games meant to him, which was, it was just an experience to have fun. It wasn't for like competitive wins or anything like that. It was just about playing the game. And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what he was trying to get across, like through all of this. And I just like that theme. That's just kind of the thing that sticks with me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I still recommend this movie to people to watch it. It's just nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of references here and there. Some you may not get, but you might come across it later on in life.
Yeah, you might come across it later, or you might just recognize it. You won't fully get the reference, but you'll be like, oh, hey. That's how I was with a lot of things in the movie as well. I didn't know who a lot of the characters were, but I recognized them just from pop culture and things of the matter.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's a good movie. Recommend it. And yeah, and also just as we're still like, I guess like within spoiler territory, I don't see a sequel anywhere, so there's no secret ending at the end.
Yeah, there's nothing at the end credits.
So
I feel we should put that at the start as well. There's no end credits scene.
Yeah.
Save people an entire credits worth of time if they don't feel like sitting through and looking at funny names.
Yeah, if you're that type of person who doesn't like looking at funny names and stuff like that, you can just walk out of the movie once it ends.
Yeah, you can fuck off.
But yeah. All right, good movie, and we'll just end here. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to know more about our discussions, please be sure to subscribe. There's also a subscribe bell button. If you click that, it'll let you know when we upload videos like by the minute, and also support our Patreon. So, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. #bye, everyone. Boom.